Hey, Tony guys here. Forgive me, it's a little dark. It's early in the morning. I'm up. Got a car transport today, so want to be up for when the driver called me and I can shoot from the bed right now, cause my wife out of town with my sister. So I want to touch on this here because I seen something online where it was talking about how women are so much stronger now, and it was a poem a guy did, and he was talking about how women more like acting like men and stuff like that. And I just was kind of like, you know, here's one thing we have to understand is, and this men and women, is that we going into a day now where them old days is over. And I think that's what's confusing a lot of men, because a lot of men are saying, hey, women are not feminine, and women becoming more masculine. But we're not really looking at society and analyzing it and really looking at it and trying to see what's going on. And the real thing is that when you have women who are being left by their child's father, and a woman is being left with kids, then she is then forced to be masculine and feminine at the same time. And when she's raising her kids, she's raising boys that's seeing masculine and feminine in a woman, and she's raising girls that's seeing masculine and feminine in a woman. And so the sons don't get to see the mom rest in her feminine. The daughters don't get to see the mom rest in her feminine. And they see her stressing, crying, worrying, going through all these emotions. So then that could then in turn make them emotionally unstable, emotionally unreliable. It can make them not trust themselves or not trust the other gender. And then what's happening is when women are being left, they then telling their daughters, hey, get your own, have your own money, get you a degree, be able to get a career. Whereas there was a time to where women was telling their daughters, make sure you meet a good man, make sure that this man is a provider and that you could have a man that's going to take care of home. Now it's like, forget a man, get your degree. And it's because of the instability of our relationships and not being able to have roles and have teams and be teammates. And so now we going into this situation where you have men and women at odds and not being teammates, but instead being opponents. And what you have to understand here is when a woman is now making money, because see, here's the thing. A man used to only have to bring money to the table because women didn't have rights. Women didn't have good jobs. We talking, in back in the early days after slavery, and black people start to still had to go through Jim Crow and a bunch of racism, still going through it on certain scales today. But back when it was very, very intense, a woman had to be with a man for economic stability. But then when women start getting degrees and then going on and working in corporate America, and she could take care of her own rent, her own mortgage, her own car note, on the kids' tuition or bus fees, whatever kind of fees, she started making what the man was making. So back in the day, the man worked and the woman was there with the kids, and the woman may did a little something to make a little money for the family, but She needed to be there for the kids. And then when women start getting degrees and start getting jobs, start starting companies, women get to the point to where, okay, boom, this man was making 50K and was taking care of household. Now the woman making 50K. So if the woman making 50K, 60K, 70K, 80K or and up, and the man is bringing alcoholism, bringing verbal abuse, bringing physical abuse, emotional abuse, if the man bringing everything but peace, that woman ain't got no need for that man. So now what's happening is men is going into relationships and going into relationships with a controlling attitude, controlling mentality, and jealous mentality, suppressing the woman, controlling the woman, but the woman got her own job. She got her own money. She could do her own thing. And then the man saying, "Oh, women too masculine." No, it's that she wants love. She want a good man. She want a good person. She wants somebody who is emotionally intelligent. She wants somebody who is committed to growth. She don't want and she can't expect nobody perfect. She already know that. She already know you're gonna be an idiot sometimes. She already know you're gonna be a butthole sometimes. She already know you're gonna have bad days. She already know you're gonna have bad seasons. But she want a man that is willing to grow, that's willing to work. And you give any woman her own money, and then a man is acting a fool, 9 out of 10 women gonna leave. Now some women they just loyal to a fault. They're gonna be 10 toes down regardless. And especially if it's kids, sometimes it becomes bigger than the money. The woman could have the money, but because she got the money and she could take care of the bills and everything that need to be taken care of financially, she will stay with a man who is acting a fool and going through because she want her kids to have a father in the home. And she thinking about the kids. But even that woman will leave if the father's example starts to become too damaging to those kids. And that's what we got to realize and understand. That got to be realized and understood. And a lot of times we not taking that time to do that. We ain't taking that time to understand that. And so that's where the breakdown is. So here's the goal to the fellas who see this is it's time to start growing as a man and becoming a good man and understanding that a good man still can lead in strength and in confidence. That being a good man don't mean tucking your dangalang in your booty. It does not mean that you can't speak your mind, that you can't call shots and say, hey, I think we ought to do this. But what it means is that you're not being controlling. You're not being abusive. You're not being toxic. You're not tearing down and demeaning and degrading. You're not cheating. You're not manipulating. You're not deceiving. You are a honest, trustworthy, respectful human being. You seeking the face of God. You submitting to God, surrendering to God. You trying to live right and do right. And that right there will put a woman in a safe space. And what you'll notice, if a woman could get put in that safe space to where she feel like you're gonna lead and you're gonna work, if the season of life comes where the kids, y'all have kids or you adopt kids and the kids really, really need her, eventually she'll let go of the fear. Because see, a lot of women keep a job and love to work and have a job and love to work their finger to the bone and bust their butt because it's rooted in fear of not having. It's rooted in fear of abandonment because their father abandoned them or their mother abandoned them. And they don't want to be abandoned. They don't want to trust the human being and then be lied to, be abandoned. And so it's rooted in this fear. But if a woman knows that a man is going to show up and he going to pay them bills and he going to take care of things, if them kids need her full time, she'll let that job go and be with them kids full time. And I done seen it happen because I the type of woman I got. I got a very independent woman, very strong, strong-minded. She's strong-willed, and she'll listen to me and she'll let me think that she listening to me and think I'm leading, and still will be able to do her own thing, do what she think is best. She real strong, but my wife has not worked a job since probably 2008. Remember 2009? Yeah, 2008. It had to be. It definitely ain't been since 2010. Our son was born in 2007, and I remember after that, she had one more job in a dentist office as like a office assistant or whatever, and she got fired from it. She got fired because she kept having to call out because when our son, if he's sick and can't go to daycare, she got to stay home with him. Or if he go to school and got to come home, she got to stay home with him. And she got fired. And I remember they didn't give her last check, and I had to make an email pretending to be a lawyer, officers of Brown and Johnson, and send in an email threatening them that they better cut her check ASAP or we finna take it to the next step. And boy, they called her that same day and gave her a check. Yeah, I know it's against the law, but hey, you better be glad. Could have did worse. I could have slid on them up there now. Put something to that dome and demanded that check. Better be glad it was an email. And got that check. My wife ain't worked since. She ain't worked since. And what it was is she saw that I was going to work. She saw that I was going to do what I had to do, take care of them bills. And she forced me to do it legally. Because when I tried to go be illegal, she left. So that let me know she ain't just about money. Because if she was just about money, she would have let me sell drugs. But she was about integrity, responsibility, true leadership. So this is what I want men to understand is that women are not becoming more masculine by choice. Women becoming more masculine by force. Because if men look around, how many men do you know that are married and 100% faithful and has created a safe space for their woman to rest in her feminine? How many men do you know? And I'm not saying argue for the comments. I'm saying really think about it. You may be able to count on one hand. Most likely, 90% of men gonna be able to count on one hand. So when you go down the list and you think about your uncles, okay, I got 9 uncles on my daddy's side. It maybe was 1 or 2 that I felt like as a young man that I could tell they had created a safe space for their woman. And it was some that I thought did that and they didn't. And then on my mom's side, she had 2 brothers. One died before I was born, the other one never got married. So right there, out of 11 uncles, and the other one wasn't married before he died. Right there, out of 11 uncles, I literally, honestly, 1 or 2 that created a safe space, that created a safe space for their woman, right there. And even with my household, my mom had to work. My mom had to work, and so that created a lot of resentment in her too, cause she'll come home and you know my daddy wanted to cook, and I heard this. If I had $1 for every time I heard my mama say I work 40 hours just like you, and that was just like, now my mama ain't the best example, cause she grew up around savages. She grew up around rough and real stuff. So she got an edge to her. She got a mouth on her. She wasn't raised domesticated to just cater to no man. She was raised to fight. She grew up in a real situation. And so when I think about it, okay, my homeboy I grew up with, him and his wife divorced. My other homeboy, going on 40, never married. My other homeboy, he ended up turning gay, going to jail. I'm thinking my other homeboy, never married, got on drugs. So you see what I'm saying? So it's like when you look around and you really think about this thing. If I look, okay, my daddy, he took care of my mama. Their relationship ended up ending. He got remarried. And my wife, dad, never married her mom. Didn't raise her in the home. He married another woman and he was there. And he raised, the kids he had with her. So just me looking at the men that I have access to, the men I know, my step granddad, my mom's stepdaddy, never got married, died alone, no relationship, was still paying prostitutes at 88 years old with a catheter in his thing, still was dealing with prostitutes. $5 for a little licking. And that's just me going through it. But see, this is what I try to, the thing about it is, as men, we have to be realist. But today we got men that are idealist instead of realist. But if a man is a realist, he's going to look around and he's going to see what the men around him are representing. And what he's going to see is that when he go through it, he's going to see a lot of trash. He's going to see a lot of irresponsibility. And that in itself is going to explain the state of women. It's going to explain a woman's defensive nature or offensive nature. It's going to explain women operating in their masculine instead of in their feminine. It's going to explain those things. And then he's going to realize, okay, am I a part of this problem? And what can I do for my situation to be different? So I'm going to tell you, with me, what I'm working on is I'm working on being less controlling, in the sense of just not being overprotective. Like, not always, hey, where you at? What you doing? How long you been there? When you going there? When you going there? And just let my wife just feel free. Because where I come from and what I come from, the men, especially men that's in the home, very, very controlling. But we call it being protective, which it is protective, but it can be overprotective. And then a woman who doesn't have that, she will want that and she will understand that. But then when a woman has that, it starts to smother her and she don't want that. So it's like whatever we have, we end up not wanting, and then what we don't have is what we want. And it's pros and cons to both sides, but there is a happy medium. There is a balance. So I had to learn that. I had to learn, like, okay, got to tone down here, still could show protection and care without it going overboard. So like last night, my wife texted me and we was at the movie. So it took me like 2 hours to text her back. By the time I text her back, it was after 10 o'clock, and she ain't text me back all night. I got home, texted good night. So it's either they was out, and then by the time they got back or she got ready to text, she saw that I sent her a good night, I love you, and then just decided to go on to bed. And then she just texts me while I'm on this video, 7 o'clock in the morning. And so she probably assuming I'm sleeping. But when I finish the video, I'm gonna text her back. But see, in that gap, in that window, I could have, the immature version, as a man, paint this picture. I could have been like, "Hey, where you at? I know you done looked at your phone. I know you done did this. I know you ain't just had your phone. What you done went out to the club? What you done did all this?" No, I just left it as, "Hey, send a little message from Tatum. Hey, we made it home. I love you. Good night." Boom. Then I sent another message telling her Tatum prayed for her, that she make it home safely, so that's on his heart. And boom, went on to bed. The immature version, "Hey, where you at? Wait, what you doing? You done fell asleep at 10 o'clock, 10:30 or whatever. I seen it said red. The first message said red. So what you doing?" It just could have went all the way there. But the mature version, nope. Girl space. She out, girls trip. Ain't no telling. Probably say red because she was taking a picture of the food, or they were getting ready to take a picture, or she was doing something. And then the next don't say red because she hadn't put her phone back down. Then by the time she got back to her phone, blase, blase. So you just let it go. You let it go because you become confident in who you are as a man. And you know that if there ever was some funny business, it's going to come out. It's going to show up. And then you still, as a man, know your worth. But see, what's happening is, as men, we moving insecure, and we become controlling because we insecure, and we become we don't trust because we don't trust ourselves. But when you trust yourself, you confident, you secure, then you ain't worrying about what your woman doing. You ain't worrying about controlling her, keeping tabs on her, because you know if she go out and she do something crazy, that's her loss, because you could cut ties, you could move on, and it'll be her who kicking herself like, "Man, I lost a good man." And it's a lot of women that happened to, that they was moving wrong because they was used to shiesty men, lying men, deceiving men. They got a good man, but they was thinking they got to play the game to have an ace in the hole just in case the man playing the game. Then come to find out they man ain't playing no games, and they the one playing games. And then they get dumped and they get left because they met a man that was raised right, and he got dignity and self-respect, and he's not finna fuss and cuss and fight and choke them and put hands on them like they old man would when he caught them doing something crazy. This man just finna pack his stuff and leave. And now the woman sitting there crying and begging them back. But it's like, no, you should have healed. You should have grew. You should have become who you need to become before you met this real man, and vice versa. So that's what we got to get to, is becoming the real example that we need to be in real life for ourselves. And then we attract that, and now we start to change the narrative because of who we becoming and what we doing. Hey, this Tony Gaskins. God bless you. Remember to use the code 90, TonyGaskinsAcademy.com, 90. God bless you. We'll talk soon.